Haruka is seen reading manga all alone in his classroom. He is a total loner with no friends and claims that it is his own decision to not hang out with his classmates, bros on pure copium. Anyway, there are many groups in his class, and amongst them, there are the group of delinquents, the girls who think too highly of themselves cause they are hot, the gym bros, the nerds, the class reps, and finally, the normies. Since Haruka is a total weeb, he doesn't deem himself to be fit into any of the groups, and that is why he chooses to be alone. At least that is what he claims. While everyone is hanging out during lunchtime, Haruka is alone, regretting ever being born into this world. Suddenly, a bright light from below illuminates the entire classroom, causing all of the students to panic. Haruka the weeb, however, is unsurprisingly calm. When he notices that the bright light is coming from what looks like a magic circle, he compares it to what looks exactly like the one in the manga he is reading. As a proud weeb, he gets excited for a second before realizing that going to another world will be quite bothersome. So, he tries to sneak out of the classroom. But no matter how hard he tries, he fails to open the door to the outside. He tries to break the door open by kicking it and then throwing a chair at it. However, nothing works, and he runs out of time to make his escape. As a last resort, he enters the ceiling through the vents and technically escapes the classroom. However, the magic circle still reaches him and transports him to a cliché, nothing but white room. Haruka expects a fat king or a beautiful princess to welcome him, but there is only a homeless-looking old man in the distance. When the old man notices Haruka, he frantically rushes towards him and asks him what he is doing here after all this time. According to the old man, Haruka's classmates already went through the welcoming procedures and have left for the Isekai world. Apparently, this homeless old man is the god of this world, and he presents Haruka with a list of cheating skills to choose from. However, there is a slight problem. The skills in this list can only be taken once, and since all of Haruka's classmates have gone through the list, they have taken the op ones already, leaving Haruka to choose from only the crappy skills. After seeing that none of the skills are worth having, Haruka then takes a look at the equipment lists. He finds that in the Berserker set, every single one of them is taken except for the Villager a set. There is also a pair contact lenses in this list as well. Both of them are super useless, so Haruka swipes left and looks at the martial arts set, where there is only a stick left, making him wonder how he is supposed to beat monsters of this world with just a freaking stick. He needs at least a sword or a spear, but there are none left. Well, it was his bright idea to hide inside the ceiling, which led to him being summoned much later, so he cannot blame anyone else. So, he goes back to the skills section again to select from what's left and finds that the only ones there are well-being, calisthenics, and walking. He can't believe that walking is even considered a skill and screams loudly to vent out his anger. He takes a look at the magic section and sees that unsurprisingly types of magic like healing, flame, lightning, fire, dark, charm, etc., all of them are taken. The only ones left are element boost, death, temperature weight, and packing movement, and Haruka has no idea what either of them does. There is a special skill called company communicator, which doesn't make sense as well because, judging by the name, the skill only seems fit for an office worker. In the title section, the only ones left are shut-ins and neats. These are all of the skills on the list, and Haruka doesn't like any of them, so he goes back to talk with the old man, demanding to know if he will even get through the first town with these shitty skills. He begs the old man to give him a better list, but there is nothing the old man can do. So as a compensation, the old man gives Haruka all of the skills left on the list and teleports him to a forest in this world. Standing in the middle of the wilderness, Haruka loses all hope. Haruka expected that the old man would at least show him some sort of mercy and send him to a town or a village. Instead, Haruka is now inside an unknown forest filled with monsters. He takes a look around and discovers a pouch on the ground in front of him. Haruka picks up the pouch, assuming that inside is the Villager a set that was in the equipment list. Expecting nothing out of the ordinary, he opens up the pouch and learns that it can hold infinite items, making it more useful than any of his crappy skills. Every single item that he got from the list is stored inside of it, including a cloak, a pair of leather boots, contact lenses, a wooden stick, a ring, and a jewel. Haruka brings out the cloak and wears it, becoming happy that it suits him. He then opens the system menu to look at his stats, but the system interrupts him, telling him that he must first roll a die. Seeing this message, Haruka remembers that there was a certain rule called rolling dice in which if the user rolled 1, for example, 1 point would be allocated to his chosen stat. So, Haruka rolls the dice and hits a double M. He has no clue what M stands for and assumes that it means minus since he is getting hit with the worst luck today. In any case, he allocates all of it to his luck. The status menu then pops up, showing that all of his stats like HP, MP, power, speed, and dexterity are set at 10 points with the only exception of luck, which is set at max points. Seeing that his luck skill is off the charts, Haruka realizes that the M in the dice stood for max. He looks at his own skill and sees that he has an extra skill called Subjugate, which only a guy who isn't in a party can use. This allows the user to make monsters follow their command. Since Haruka is a true loner, he can use it. Now that the overview is done, Haruka starts walking ahead with the initial goal to find some food and make himself a place to stay. As Haruka wears the contact lenses, he learns that it allows him to appraise things. He appraises all sorts of things around him and finds a bunch of edible mushrooms nearby, since his other dimensional bag has infinite storage. He places all of them inside and then proceeds to collect water as well from the nearby river. Haruka sees that there is a cave in the distance, so he goes to explore it, knowing that there may be monsters inside. Inside his bag, Haruka finds a magic lantern and a magic tent. So he sets up camp there and uses his temperature magic to light up a campfire. Seeing that things are going pretty well, he starts to think that the leftover skills are useful as well, taking his initial statement back. Before going to sleep, Haruka checks his status menu again and finds out that his temperature skill has leveled up and he has unlocked fire magic. Wow, somehow everything is working well for the protagonist. Isn't that pretty convenient? The loner in another world wakes up in the morning, feeling relieved that no monsters attacked him. Haruka's item, the magic lantern, had a bonus effect that repelled monsters, so maybe that is why he didn't get approached by anything at night. Haruka's stomach starts to growl, so he sets up a pan over the fire to have breakfast. He cooks some cured meat with the mushrooms he collected earlier and then eats it whole. Haruka got the frying pan and the knife from the villager Aset, so he is thankful that the old man allowed him to take all of the leftover skills. Speaking of the villager Aset, Haruka wonders who this guy even is and if he was some sort of wilderness survivor. In any case, Haruka must figure out where he will go from here. He figures that the cave will work as his temporary home, so all he's got to work on now is food and security. While exploring the forest, Haruka collects some mushrooms that refill stamina and some medicinal herbs in case of an injury. Out of nowhere, Haruka's appraisal skill detects 2 goblins nearby, who should be the weakest mobs according to the norms. However, judging from their stats, they are way stronger than Haruka is. Haruka knows that he will have to fight the monsters of this forest eventually, so he decides to do it now. He infuses some of his magical energy into his trusty stick and hits the first goblin in the head. With the second goblin remaining, Haruka yoinks it away with a heat blast attack, passing his first battle with flying colors. Haruka gets filled with confidence. He brings back one of the goblin's weapons to the cave, although he deems it useless as it's quite heavy. Haruka opens the status menu and learns that he has leveled up. As a reward for leveling up, all of his stats and skills have doubled, making him realize that he can just get overpowered by bullying poor goblins in the forest. Haruka has unlocked a new ability called Magic Wrap, and on day 3, he uses it to boost his physical stats plus his defense. Haruka goes out to explore the forest again and first looks for food to eat. He has already grown sick of collecting mushrooms, so he decides to level up his stats instead and covers himself with Magic Wrap before going out on a hunt. With enhanced movement speed and physical ability, Haruka dashes through the forest at swift speed and hunts down 2 goblins behind the bushes before they know it. Haruka becomes so confident that he decides to take on 3 goblins at once. This time, he gets scared by their masculinity and so sneaks out of there. deciding to level up his stats more before taking on more than 2 enemies at once. From there on, Haruka hunts goblins every day and improves his magic at night. On day 5, Haruka becomes strong enough to defeat a goblin with 1 hit, so he focuses on decorating his base more and adds a gate to the cave. At night, when Haruka is hunting down a rabbit, his perception skill detects someone nearby. It's Haruka's classmates. Firstly, there is the delinquent group, the popular girls group, the gym bros, the nerds, and the class reps. Being the unsocial loner, Haruka doesn't want to do anything with them, but he is secretly a fan of the class rep, and that is why he takes a step forward hoping get one glance at her. But Bro stops himself as he is a big fan of solo leveling and convinces himself to stay true to his loner ways. That's it for the first part of this series. If you want to see more of Haruka's chaotic loner adventures, drop a comment and hit subscribe for part 2. And as always, stay safe and take care.